with the denture community. As you can see, I am having a stay-at-home, no makeup, no hairstyle day, just a ponytail. I'm planning on doing some house cleaning, and although it's in the afternoon, I never get really started on anything until the evening. So in a little while, I'm going to go fix some dinner, and we're going to have tacos. I have got, this is one of my budget tips. I buy generally marked down meats at Kroger, at my grocery store, Kroger's, Ingles, or Food City, and I bought a 3 pounds of ground beef that was marked down the other day, and I'm going to take all of that 3 pounds and I'm going to brown it. Half of it I'm going to use for dinner tonight, which we're going to have tacos. I make my own taco seasoning because I do keto, and we'll talk about that maybe in another video later on. But I make my own taco seasoning mix because the regular taco seasoning mix you buy at the grocery store has maltodextrin in it, which is high on the glycemic index. So you don't want something with that in it if you are trying to cut out sugar, you're keto, low carb, or you're diabetic. But anyway, today I wanted to talk to you guys about what you need to do to get started on your budget. Obviously, I talked last video about what I use for my budget planning and all that fun stuff, but I want to talk to you about the first steps. Now, I talked last time about how you need to start a month of tracking your spending, which means everything that you spend out, that you pay for. You go to the grocery store and you spend $2 on a candy bar or soda or something like that. It needs to go in your tracker. If you're spending 20 bucks on gas, it needs to go in your tracker. If you're going to the fast food at McDonald's and you're getting a meal, it needs to go in your tracker. Okay, if you're spending cash, it needs to go in your tracker. If you're swiping your debit card or your credit card, it needs to go in your tracker. Everything, that way you know exactly where your money's going every month. And that gives you an idea, and that includes your bills, an idea of everything that you're spending and where your money is going. So you know, if, for example, if you're spending $300 a week on groceries, if you can cut back on that. Look at what you're spending on your groceries. Keep your receipts. So if you know you're spending $300 on your grocery bill, look at those receipts and say, okay, I spent $300 this week on groceries. I spent $150 of that on actual food. I spent $50 of that on household items such as paper towels, paper plates, that kind of stuff. Look at what you can cut out. Can you cut out some of the junk food and make stuff at home instead of buying that candy bar? Make some treats at home that you can take with you. Make you some brownies. You can cut them up and put them in Ziploc bags. And if you want to go out, you can just grab that and carry with you. Instead of stopping at fast food restaurants or stopping at a restaurant, pre-make your meals at home. We'll go into in another video on how I meal prep. As I was talking about doing today, I'm going to meal prep for today's meal and for tomorrow's. Now, some people do that going like on a Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon. They'll meal prep for the entire week. I can't really do that because day to day, our lives are different. I've meal prepped before and ended up having to waste some of it because I left it in the refrigerator too long and we didn't use it. So I generally meal prep 2 or 3 days in advance. I know I'm going to be working Wednesday night, so when I meal prep tonight, I'll make part of that hamburger meat will go in for tacos for dinner tonight. The other half will go into a casserole for tomorrow night's dinner, and part of that casserole I will use for my lunch Wednesday night when I go to work. So 3 more times I go to work. I go to work tomorrow night, I go to work Saturday night, Sunday night, and then the next Thursday night. And that will be my last, I'll learn to speak eventually, my last night at work. Somebody just delivered a package. And the dog didn't react. Can you believe that? I'm freaked. Because FedEx has already been here today, and he reacted. Post office mail delivered today. He freaked out. What can I say? There he goes. That's my boy. Dexter, it's okay. They're gone. That's my German Shepherd. Dexter, it's good. They're gone. See out the window? Check the window. See? That stayed on video. Anyway, What I want to talk to you today about how to get started. One of the first things you need to think about when you're actually starting your budget after you've done your tracking is starting your emergency fund. Now, I know that you want, if your goal is to get out of debt, you want to start paying down that debt as quickly as possible, but you want to build up an emergency fund that you'll have for something that comes up. Your car breaks down and you need a new alternator. You've got an emergency fund to pull that out of, and then you'll need to rebuild that emergency fund. My initial emergency fund is going to be $1,000. And what I did was I opened up a separate savings account. Now, my husband and I have a combined checking and savings account at our local credit union. But generally, the way that's set up is that if we don't have enough money in our checking account to cover something's come out for swiping a debit card or a subscription or something that's automatically coming out, it pulls money out of my savings account to put into there. So what I did is I opened up a separate savings account, and I recommend the Capital One 360 savings account. I've also opened up a checking account through there, and all of my money that I receive for doing my business, the virtual assistant business that I do, I gotta do that. Oh, it's on the wall. There's a spot, and there it is. It's a nail in the wall. When I took down a picture. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, a Capital One 360 savings account, and I've opened up a checking account, and all of my funds from my business will be going into that checking account. So I'm going to be, as soon as I've built that up a little bit, I'm going to be switching some of my subscriptions over to that checking account for that automatic deduction. Now, it does not set up to where it will automatically pull from savings. So if it does not have enough to cover that, then it will just bounce. And I just have to make sure there's enough in there to cover it. But I know exactly how much I get paid every month, and as long as, that's going on, if I have to, I can pull out. But my subscriptions being as you saw in my sheets, my Adobe, just things I don't want coming out of the household account. But I'll be transferring money out of that. I have the ability to transfer money from that checking account into that Capital One savings and checking account. So that Capital One savings account is going to be where my emergency fund is established. And I did just put my husband on that account, so he will have access if we have an emergency and I'm not available. So, I wanted to talk about these lovely little things called the envelope method. Now, this is called the cash method, and this is recommended by Dave Ramsey, whom a lot of us in the budgeting world now follow the Dave Ramsey recommendation for getting out of debt. He has a class, apparently a course that you can take. It is expensive. I'm not taking it. I got one of his books from a local bookstore, but he recommends the cash envelope method. And the cash envelope method, what that is that instead of swiping your debit card every time you go to the grocery store, the gas station, let's see, what have I got here? To buy clothing, Walmart, to buy beauty items, for your pet food, and that kind of stuff, that you pull out cash in those envelopes. You make that budget, stick with it, pull out cash to put in those envelopes, and these are what my envelopes look like. Now, this is my my household. And I've got one for restaurants, so if we go out to eat, and I do go out to eat once a week with my friends on my connections team at church. I've got one for beauty, for if I'm buying makeup or anything like that. Right now, that's empty because I just got some stuff from CVS. I've got one for clothing, and especially for the seasonal stuff, like summer's almost here, pretty much. And although right now it's empty because I just bought spring stuff and I haven't put anything else in it. My gas, I pull out because I only fill up once every 2 weeks, but I'll take every paycheck and I pull a little bit out of every paycheck so that when it's time to fill the gas tank up, I've got money in there to do that. And then, of course, my food budget, and these lovely little envelopes have these tracking sheets on the other side. Now, I downloaded and printed these off from the Budget Mom, which I gave you guys the link last time. I'll link that again below. But that's where I put in how much money I added to it, and how much I added to it, and then what the balance is if there was anything left over from the previous month. So, and this is where I spent my groceries, and I used the entire thing on groceries and had zero left. And my household was, I used a separate for paper items such as, see, before I do that, where I added $50 to that and then subtracted $55. So I was actually in the negative, but then I added in another $100 from the my paycheck. So, and then, no, I added another $10, which gave me a $4 balance. So I have $4 left in this envelope. So, anyway, another thing that, this is actually suggested for my sister-in-law. I have, these are what you call sinking funds. And this is what you want to save up for events like Christmas. This is my Christmas envelope. I have one for our wedding anniversary, which is next month. And then for birthdays. Now, I use combination birthdays. I put every little bit in there, every paycheck, to save up for birthdays. Like, for example, my birthday's in January, so is my husband's. My one of my sons and one of my grandsons' birthdays is in May. I don't have anybody in February. And then one of my granddaughters is in April, and then another grandchild and my mother and one of my other sons is in May. So I have a lot of birthdays going on. So, and I will use this throughout the year too. I'll put this stuff in there, and as I find stuff on clearance throughout the year, I will buy stuff like toys, especially go on clearance all the time. So I've got a storage thingy in my bedroom where I put all of the birthday items I get, which I have to pull one of them out and give to my granddaughter because she just had a birthday. And those are the sinking funds that I'm saving up for right now. Now, you can also add sinking funds for, let's see if I have any here. No, I actually didn't print them out. But for vacation, you can add sinking funds for other holidays. If you want to save up and buy stuff for 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Halloween, if you want to buy like decor and stuff like that. Sorry, look in the camera. For that kind of stuff, then you can create sinking funds for that. Now, one of the things that I do is when I go to Target, a lot of times I will buy items that have a gift card coming back. So what I've done, one of the things I do is every time I go to the store and I spend cash, I take $5 bill out and I put it in my Christmas envelope. Got that from my sister-in-law. She does that. So by Christmas, I should have quite a bit. Now, this is something I ordered from Target online, and I got a $5 gift card back, and I printed that off. And then when I buy certain items, I have 2 more Target gift cards in there that I will be saving for Christmas. Now, these don't expire. So I've got, let's see, $15, $20, $25 right now saved up for Christmas. And another thing that I'm doing, too, is every time I have dollars and change left, I have this bowl. And yes, it's a bit dusty, but as you can see, I've got quite a bit of change in there right now. And every time I have a dollar bill, I throw dollar bills in there too. Right now, I haven't counted it up, but I bought one of those coin counters, and I probably got less than halfway through here before the coin counter quit counting. And I had $30 right there. So $30, probably $60. I probably got about maybe $70, $75 in there right now. And that will be saving for a rainy day if I want to take a trip to Dollywood. That kind of stuff. My husband has what he calls an emergency 20 that he keeps on him. I have emergency cash that I keep on me. So that stays in here. I've got one of these wonderful little wallets. I got these at Walmart, actually. It's one of those RIFD. And it's Ziploc, and it has places for all my credit cards, but it's got spaces here, and this will hold, it's big enough to hold my cash envelopes. Okay, it will hold my cash envelopes in there. So when I go to the store, and as I use them, I take them out. I don't take them with me everywhere I go because I'm trying to save money and not spend willy-nilly. So that's what the cash envelope method is. But the first thing you need to start working on before you start paying down debt is starting that emergency fund. So once I get that established and get that saved up, then I will be throwing extra money hopefully at our debt and get those. My plan is, this is what my plan is. Get the emergency fund saved up. That's number 1. And then number 2, I'm going to pay down the 3 smallest credit cards before I start the avalanche method. The avalanche method is you take all of your bills and their interest rates and you start paying off the one with the highest interest rate first. That's what I'm planning on doing. I'm going to get the 3 smallest ones paid off, and then I'm going to start the avalanche method and start throwing extra money. And right now, the one with the highest interest rate is what I'm paying for these babies. So, and with my husband's bonus check every year, the plan is we're going to pay off at least 1, if not 2 large bills, depending on how much of a bonus he gets. And whether or not we get any income tax refund. Yeah. But that's what I've got going right now. That's what we're talking about with the budgeting right now. This is all about the cash envelope method and how to start your plan on getting started with your budgeting plan. So that's what I got this time. Next time I want to talk about, let's see what we can talk about. I don't know. I'll think of something. I know that it's quite a bit. We'll probably talk about sinking funds and how to get that started, and what my real numbers are in this because this next paycheck, which is coming up Friday, which I have direct deposit, and I will get that deposit late Thursday afternoon. Everybody else gets theirs on Friday. I get mine on Thursday, thanks to my bank. I love my bank. They love me too, obviously. But let's see. We'll talk about sinking funds, and we will talk about real numbers on this budgeting plan and getting things, because that paycheck will have extra money on it from the extra hours that I worked, and how we're getting things turned around to get our bills caught up into where they're being paid on time. And what we're going to be doing every paycheck from now on, since I won't be working until I find a new job, how we're going to get that to where everything is going to be paid on time every month. Got it? Good. Anyway, that's all I got today. You guys have a wonderful day. God bless, and I'll see you next time.